Hello and welcome to Out of the Darkroom on Adorama TV. I'm Ruth Medjber and joining me on the show today is Nicole Le Saout. She's an incredible newborn baby photographer. Nicole, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I absolutely love what you do. I don't think there's anybody that can look at your website and not just constantly go, oh.
That's great.
Is your whole life like that?
No, it's pretty chaotic. I have 3 kids of my own, so no.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not that peaceful.
So
my mornings are peaceful.
You've got good experience with babies then if you've had 3.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, that's obvious from your website because, I mean, it's just babies and children. Yeah. You must love it.
I do, I love it, yeah. I love it. They're just gorgeous that age, newborn, and so fresh and just beautiful. Yeah.
Was it something that you always wanted to do?
No, I think I kind of just got into it when I had my own kids. I mean, I don't have any photos of my own kids like this, unfortunately, because I was still learning and everything. But no, I just, I don't know. I always wanted to be a photographer, and I always was attracted to that. But no, I didn't really know about the newborn thing till later on. Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to ask you was about the props, which are obviously such a big thing in what you do. Is your studio space just packed full of blankets and snuggly things?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think I have a little bit of a weird fetish about all the blankets and wraps and scarves, and because you can find props everywhere, you know. Like in museum shops and you know, in markets in France and stuff. I'm always looking for stuff. And
really?
Yeah, and I look on Etsy as well. It's a website where people hand make lots of different things, and yeah, so that,
look at that.
I know. So that's
is this from Etsy?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's from the States, actually. Yeah.
I can't imagine a baby would fit like that's a
well,
little
their
crown.
heads are only like that big, so you have to make it look really little.
You've brought in some absolutely adorable props. You must like. It is a way, I suppose, of constantly shopping, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Sometimes I have to say, okay, I already have, you know, 5 cream blankets, and I really don't need another one. But
really,
yeah.
But I mean, is it because you always want to like photograph the babies a little bit differently?
I do, yeah. So I like to change it around, and you know, although there are certain blankets that I always go back to because they have like a beautiful weave and give you the lines, like the leading lines in the photo. So you know,
is texture a big thing then in the shots?
Yeah,
because baby skin would be so soft that you want something a little bit more...
Yeah, a little knobbly or a little, just something, you know, that's a little bit different. Although I really like the smooth Angora as well, where you just see a bit of the fluff, you know, and I like a bit of fur, you know. But,
so basically everything in your house is you just want to touch it.
Yeah, exactly.
The newborn babies in the baskets kind of thing, it's really, really taken off lately.
Yeah, I know.
You must be delighted with it though, because it might make prop shopping a little bit easier.
Yeah, because normally I have to find things on Etsy and really search out. I mean, but I do find things like at IKEA.
Really?
You know, there's huge plant baskets, you know, for plants that I would put the kids in or babies in, and you know, I find things at Dunn's, and you know, I'm just constantly on the lookout, you know.
So you mentioned there babies. You said 4 days. Would you get them in at 4 days?
About 6 days usually. I like to wait until the little clamp falls off. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, you have to talk to me about all of this because I don't have kids. I'm not good at being with your own kids, so you have to spell everything out for me. The little clamp is the belly button thing.
Yeah. So ideally, it's great if the mom can ring up and give me her due date before she's had the baby.
Of course.
Book it in and then I kind of know, you know, the week after the due date. 2 weeks, I can manage that a little bit better if I know, but usually they don't.
It is so important though, isn't it, to get a baby when they're so small, because they'll change really quickly.
It goes so quickly. I mean, by the time I give the photos and frames and things back to them, the baby has changed a lot, and they're kind of like, oh my gosh, and I go, it really didn't take that long, but you know.
But like 3 months is loads for a newborn baby. Yeah, the photo shoots that you do, how long does it take you to whip one baby?
Well, for one baby, usually they get there around 10, and they usually leave around 1.
That's quite a long time for...
Well, because a lot of times during that morning, they have to have a few feeds and they have a few cuddles, and I only take one baby a morning, and so there's no rushing, and if the parents are late, like they were this morning. It's like no stress. And I'm always just saying, don't stress, just come. And it's really relaxing. And I do the photo shoots in my home. So I have a huge window that's only just beautiful natural light. And so all the photos are natural light. That window is just in the perfect spot, and it's really big, so it brings in a lot of light. Wow. And the parents usually fall asleep.
No.
Yeah.
So they obviously trust you completely if they can just fall asleep and, you know, you work with their baby.
Yeah, they do. Well, they see the minute they walk in, we just like take the baby and we're like, oh my God, you know. And then they fall asleep, but that's the biggest challenge, to get them asleep, you know.
So that's what you want. You want the babies to fall asleep.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't mind if we do a few shots before and a few shots afterwards where they're awake and you can see their eyes.
Yeah.
But for all the ones that are kind of posed and where they look so peaceful and everything, and when they smile, that's when they're asleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about the shoot, if you will, because this is the bit I'm interested in. First of all, how do you get the babies so comfortable, and how do you pose them? Do you literally just, are they like Play-Doh?
A little bit, yeah. Once they're asleep, they're like Play-Doh. So like the shoot would be, you know, the parents come in and then we undress the baby and get the baby all wrapped up. And then, like I said, they go and hang out on the couch and usually fall asleep. And so we have an app as well that makes the in vitro kind of sound, you know, the...
No way.
Yeah, and there's an app, a baby
There's an app for that?
Yes, there is.
Wow.
Baby, and it's white noise, and it's hilarious. Some babies fall asleep to the like really hard rain sound as well.
Oh.
And the train one. So anyway, so we get the baby all set up, and I have, well, like I said, a big window, and next to the window I have a really big beanbag.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's important.
So that's your posing tool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the beanbag then, I usually will have decided before this session which blankets I want to use, and if it's a boy or a girl, even though I kind of tend to go towards the creams and all those, and the whites, because I love the purity of that. If I have a girl, I have this really beautiful Angora pink blanket that I would use, and if it's a boy, I might just put some grays or some, you know, kind of soft, dusty blues.
Choose from your massive selection of blankets that are
they all fall down on me.
So beanbags, that's the best
it's a big beanbag, and the beanbag, I've tried a lot of them, and the beanbag I really like is from this Dutch place called Therapy. And it's just really comfortable, and they just kind of smush down into it. And then I would use other things to maybe prop up their heads or their upper bodies a little bit more, like you know, the neck things that you wear on the airlines. I put that around underneath all the blankets, but then smooth out the blanket afterwards, so they're up a little bit more.
That's how people do that. You're giving away all your secrets.
I know. Sorry. But yeah, and so then it's just a matter of seeing where the light falls. Yeah. Making sure, because on the other side of the studio, I also have windows, so I kind of bring down the shades there to get a little bit more shadow on the other side.
But I've noticed on your website, it's not just the teeny tiny babies that you photograph, is it?
No.
You kind of do the whole family.
Yeah.
How does that differ?
I love doing the little tiny babies, and I love doing the kind of the connection shots between the mom and the baby, and then the dad and the baby. And there are definitely different poses that I would use for the mom. The mom, I really like to get the baby up here and you know, get her just really cuddled in, because usually the moms are a little bit nervous about how they're looking and everything. So I say, you know, you could wear pajama bottoms at the you know, that is not going to be in the photo. It's all about up here. And you just snuggling with that little baby in your arms, because he or she will not fit there for very long. So, yeah. And then the tricky part though is if there's an older sibling, usually about a toddler age, because there's about 2 or 3 year gap between kids normally. And then the shoot changes completely, because I have to get in the family first, the toddler second, and then let him go watch something on the iPad, and then I deal with the baby. But then at that point, I really don't have as much time to deal with the baby. So what I started doing recently is just suggesting that they bring the baby at the newborn stage, and then come back when the baby's kind of sitting up, and then we do the siblings together, because you get, I think, more variety of photos at that age, more interaction between them, and I think that's super sweet, you know, that age as well for the baby, you know, to be looking like little Buddhas.
Do you do a lot of photoshopping on the babies?
Well, there's definitely work to do on a baby. Like pretty much every photo, you have to do something to it. I try to get it right in the camera, you know, all the lighting and everything, but they always have little marks, you know, little scratch marks.
Because I mean, your pictures, they're so soft and perfect and dreamlike, and I've been around newborn babies and I'm looking at the baby going, no, that's not it.
They're usually very red as well.
Really?
Yeah.
So you have to tone
so I
it
have
all
to bring
down.
down the reds all the time, yeah.
So there is a lot of retouching required on babies.
Unfortunately.
One last thing, the camera that you use, is it anything special, or what do you use?
Yeah, I have a Nikon D750.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I used to have the 800, or I had the 700 and then I had the 800, and then I tried the 750 because it's a lot lighter.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you're kind of over the baby and like on your knees and everything, so yeah, I have the 750, and then the lens is really important. I have the Sigma 1.4 50mm.
Oh, nice.
It's like an art lens. I used to have the 50mm Nikon, which is good too, so it's really good.
Do you shoot in the 1.4 because of the light, or is it because that you really love the shallow depth of field?
I love the shallow depth of field, yeah, and that's why when you said earlier that the babies look so kind of soft, on like, you know, you would have a bit of that because of thanks to the lens, you know.
Wow, that's a good tip. I must add that to my bag then, and attempt to do what you do, even though there's no chance of me getting anywhere near what you do. It's fabulous. Well, listen, I hope that you continue to do it, because you make absolute masterpieces out of these babies. And thank you so much for sharing all your tips with us.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Well, that's it for this episode. I really hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to start the conversation with me, then please leave me a comment below. I do love hearing your feedback. If you'd like to brush up on your own photography skills, then check out the Adorama Learning Centre. And if you'd like to see more videos, then subscribe to the Adorama YouTube channel. Thanks, and I'll see you again soon.